this is my review of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Okay, so a lot of people are trying to investigate Rimuru now. First, it starts with the original guilds members that we met, who brought one of their leaders with them, and they get attacked by a spider, which is going to be important later, so remember that. And also one of the underlings of Demon Lord Carrion, who we haven't seen yet, I don't think. He just up and attacks Rigard, and Milim intervenes on Rigard's behalf. And we also learned a bit more about how potions work. So apparently, depending on how much distillation is in a single potion, raises its level grade, with the lowest ones being basic potions and the ones that Rimuru has being absolute ones, being like 99% or something like that. But anyway, as they're talking about this, they actually see the attack from Milim, who kind of leaves a giant mushroom cloud in her wake just a little bit. And they go to investigate and find out what happened, and they see that Rigard has half of his face missing, and the original Demon Lord's underling that they sent is lying face down on the ground. And Rimuru's a little hesitant on whether or not to praise her or scold her, because on the one hand, she did save the village from a would-be attacker, but on the other hand, she did also promise not to attack anybody from within the village. So he's kind of hesitant. So what he does is he ultimately gives her a scolding and warns her that if she does it again, she'll go without food for her next meal, so she won't get dinner. He tried to take away her lunch, but that only made it worse, so he decided to just give her a warning and put her on a probation until she calms down. But yeah, and this guy, he doesn't accept Rimuru as the leader, which is definitely something that I expected to happen a lot, and it is. Because Rimuru is a slime, and most people just view him as a slime and don't realize that he's actually the leader. And only people who are actually close to him actually know the truth. And this guy is told to report back to Demon Lord Carrion, so that Carrion would know that they weren't hostile and try to make an alliance. But this guy's not going to send a message. He doesn't think Rimuru is worthy of a message, so he's not going to send a message to about Rimuru. And it's at this point where we learn that Milim, Carrion, Frey, and one other guy, and Clayman, I forget one of their names. I think it's Frey. I don't remember. But anyway, there was like a group of Great Demon Lords or something that got together and tried to make a false Demon Lord to control as a puppet, and obviously that failed because the Orc Lord was killed by Rimuru. And Rimuru actually does have to kind of trick Milim into giving away the information because she swore to her oath to keep a promise, but considering that Milim and Rimuru are besties, Rimuru is able to convince her to do it otherwise. So, yeah, and it's at this point where two of the neighboring kingdoms come to investigate Rimuru, and this is when the adventurer group comes into play, because they piss off a night spider, and they're all prepared to go all out. And it's led by Yum and Fuse, I think that was their names. But anyway, Yum and Fuse and their party troop are ready to fight the group and the spiders and all that. And then Gopta shows up and just one-shots the spider and make dinner out of it. It's kind of a little funny moment because they didn't recognize how powerful Gopta was, because as I said, Gopta is pretty powerful. Not on the level of Rimuru, but he's definitely up there with Shion and Shuna and all of them. And then all the members are invited back to talk delegations with Rimuru, who introduces them all to Shion, Shuna, Milim, and all those guys. And then realizing that the knowledge about how Rimuru defeated the Demon Lord isn't exactly well spread yet, decides to create a rumor where he only assisted in defeating the Demon Lord, even though we know that's not what happened. We know he defeated the Orc Disaster by himself, single-handedly, but he decides to spread the rumor anyway so that it looks like that the other members actually took him down. And after Rimuru reveals this plan, they think it over and decide to join him as a full-fledged member of his group. So there was a lot of stuff that happened in this episode. We learned about how potions work. We also learned that there are 2 bordering kingdoms. I forget what they're called. I think they're called one is called Belmid or something. I forget what they're called, but yeah, there's a lot of kingdoms, and we also get a little overhead map. If I can find a picture, I'll show it here so you guys can see it. I'm not entirely sure what it looks like. It kind of looks a little bit like one of the islands in Japan, but not really. So I'm not entirely sure what it looks like, but it does look a little bit like that. But I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to look up an image if I can find it, but it'll go here if I do find it. So yeah, look out for that. It's also very interesting that Rimuru is able to make friends with pretty much everybody he meets for the most part. And we also learn a little bit more about what Clayman's ultimate goal is. He brings out one of his underlings, Tyr, to look into Rimuru and some other things. And it's revealed that not only is Tyr able to find out more about Rimuru and how he operates, but she also finds out something else from a neighboring kingdom about how, I guess, like a giant demon named Charbdis or something is going to be released soon. And Clayman makes the plan to try and capture and control it and figure out where the seal is using Tyr. So this is going to get interesting really quickly. Because obviously Clayman's not a very good dude, and he's going to try and take over the world if he can. And I'm not sure how he's going to do this because, I mean, yeah, he's got a bunch of Demon Lords under his command, but from what I've seen on his wiki page, he's not an actual Demon Lord. So, he has enough power of a Demon Lord, but he's not actually a Demon Lord, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, he's powerful, but he's just below the grade of Demon Lord. He hasn't graduated to Demon Lord yet. So he just calls himself a Demon Lord, even though he's not actually a Demon Lord. But yeah, there's only a handful of Demon Lords. Clayman isn't one of them. He's only self-proclaimed. But this is going to get interesting because I think Clayman just has a superiority complex because he thinks he's a Demon Lord and he's not. And it's going to his head. And it's gone to his head. And it's causing him to do stupid things. Like, for example, summon a demon and try to control it. Or create an Orc Lord and try to control it. So what he's doing is he's trying to take over the world, but he's not exactly good at it. So we'll see how this goes. I have a feeling that he's going to try and take over the world again and fail miserably, fall flat on his face, like what happened with the Orc Lord. But who knows? Maybe he'll succeed. Probably not, because Rimuru is definitely going to kick his ass. But we'll see. So if you guys have seen this episode, that time I was reincarnated as a slime, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, then be sure to hit that like and the subscribe button. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. Also, check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month, and it really helps me out, so I appreciate checking it out. You can also find it in the iCard and in the end screen. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace! Forget what they are. I know fire is one, but I forget. I know fire is one, but I forget what the other ones are. And now it's healing itself. This is why grass types are kind of annoying.